Sambor Prei Kuk Temple is a cultural and historical site located in Sambor Village, Sambor Commune, Prasat Sambor District, about 25 kilometers northeast of Kampong Thom provincial town. The site was once an old capital named Isanapura and a religious center for the worship of Shiva Brahmanism. Many temples were built in Sambor Prei Kuk during the reign of King Isanavarman. Sirzat 616, 635 in the 7th century. The temples of Sambor Prei Kuk, constructed of solid brick, laterite and sandstone, and decorated by bas-reliefs. The lintel, pillars, and the door frames are all made of sandstone. So far, 140 temples have been discovered in the forest. Sambor Prei Kuk, located near Kampong Thom, 150 km southeast of Siem Reap, lies off the main road towards Cambodia. Its capital Phnom Penh, Kampong Thom, is a sleepy little town. The only hive of activity was the marketplace next to the Stung Sen River, where we bought some brown palm sugar and Cambodian fragrant rice. The local taxi was actually an open-air wooden cart pulled by an antiquated motorbike. Its owner was an elderly man wearing spectacles with thick lenses. The journey to Sambor Prei Kuk was interesting in itself. We saw no other vehicles other than a lone villager cycling into town, his bicycle laden with hand-made straw baskets. Our van kicked up thick red dust as we sped on the laterite road. A woman scrubbing her clothes nearby was oblivious to the dust that swept over her. Lest you entertain images of grand temple ruins akin to the grandeur of the awesome Angkor Wat, you be disappointed. Sambor Prei Kuk is a group of ancient temple ruins scattered within a shady forest. Originally called Isanapura, it predates Angkor Wat and was the capital city during the reign of King Isanavarman I, the son of King Citrasena. Few tourists know of it. The only horde? Here was a group of Cambodian kids who rushed to our bus, hawking brightly colored homespun scarves at US $1 RM, 3.5 each. Built at the end of the 6th century, the ruins are touted to be some of the oldest structures in the country, covering an area of 5 square kilometers. About 100 small temples are scattered throughout the forest. Left in the open and not maintained, some of the structures are just mere remnants of their original building, perhaps a broken wall here, a vine-choked edifice there. There are 52 temples in recognizable condition, and another 52 sites where the original structures are now buried in the ground, visible only as small hills. All is not lost. The Ministry of Culture and Fine Arts, together with the Wieta University, supported by the Foundation for Cultural Heritage and the Sumitomo Fund, have started the Sambor Prei Kuk Conservation Project to restore these ruins. The main temple group, known as Prasat Sambor, is dedicated to Gambhireshvara, one of Shiva, as many forms. Some of the towers still retain their carvings. Many are mere ruins now covered by vegetation. As we walked further, enjoying the cool serenity of the shady trees, the small group of child peddlers had grown to 20. The original band selling scarves had been joined by older children hawking bracelets and trinkets. They were very persistent, dropping their prices to almost a quarter of the original as we neared the end of our visit. Sambor Prei Kuk does not match the splendor of Angkor Wat, yet its serene forests and solitude make a much welcome change from the human masses of its famous cousin. Sambor Prei Kuk is a 7th century temple ruin in the Kampong Thom province. It's among the remains of Isanapura, the pre-Angkorian capital city of the Chenla Kingdom. King Isanavarman I is credited with building the city when the Chenla Kingdom was at its zenith, more than 150 years before Angkor. The ruins at Sambor Prei Kuk are groups of striking brick prasats in varying states of decay. The 3 main complexes are Prei Sambor North Group, Prei Tor Central Group, and Prei Ye Pound South Group. Each is walled, and each contains a number of prasats or towers. The carvings on some of the lintels, columns, and pillars of the prasats are in relatively good shape and are very good examples of pre-Angkorian art. The brick prasats and compound walls are ornamented with large bas-reliefs and demonstrate an early application of this Khmer art form. Another unusual construction technique is the octagon-shaped towers, but perhaps the most photographed is Prasat Prei, a small temple that's almost completely overgrown by a large tree. For those interested in Khmer history and art, and for the serious temple explorer, this pre-Angkorian complex is an important place to visit. It can be reached on a day trip from Siem Reap or Phnom Penh, or can be explored during an overnight stop at Kampong Thom. The dirt road from Kampong Thom is in fair condition. You can reach Sambor Prei Kuk, about 120 kilometers southeast of Siem Reap, and about 35 kilometers from Kampong Thom. As most of the temples face east, morning hours offer the best light for photos. Sambor Prei Kuk is a wondrous ancient city temple complex area, dating to the 6th-7th century with a staggering 141 recorded temple sites, and a large habitation area with complex waterworks in a zone that covers near to 13 ski kilometers, 5 ski miles. Known in ancient times as Isanapura, it is the capital of the Chenla Kingdom that succeeded the prior Funan era of the 1st to early 6th century. In 2017, it was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The site is highly regarded for its well-preserved temples, the incredible and unique art that they present, and for its importance in the history of Southeast Asia. Visitors to the site today can explore 3 major temple groups: Prasat Sambor, Prasat Dao, and Prasat Yai Poan, surrounded by numerous smaller and quite interesting temples, with 2 satellite temple zones located 2 km to the northwest, Robang Romias and Srei Krup Leek, and then Prasat Taman 1.5 kilometers to the west. To the east of the temple cluster is a roughly 4 km skew area bordered by a moat on the north, south, and west, and the natural water system on the east. It's believed to be the urban area of the ancient city, featuring numerous water basins and several moated shrine sites with only traces of laterite and brick to be seen. Whilst there are no structures or much interest for the visitor today, it emphasizes the size and scale of this wondrous ancient development. By road, it is located 30 km north of the city of Kampong Thom, 170 km to the southeast of Siem Reap and the temples of Angkor, and 200 km north of Phnom Penh, in Sambor commune of Prasat Sambor district in Kampong Thom province. All roads leading to the site are sealed and in good condition, whilst the road through the temple site is a dirt road. Preserving the overall character of the site, it is usually kept in good condition and passable by all vehicle types no matter the season. The nearest major city to Sambor Prei Kuk is the city of Kampong Thom, which features several hotels and guest houses of good standard. Kampong Thom Palace Hotel and Banhound Guest House are well regarded, local eateries, etc. The city of Kampong Thom is conveniently located along the RN6, and it can be reached easily by buses that head between Siem Reap and Phnom Penh, or by private shuttle buses. Alternatively, just 3 km away on the northeast side of Sambor Prei Kuk is Sambor Village, featuring options for homestay experiences, local eateries, Wat Sambor, and a guest house. The ticket office for Sambor Prei Kuk is located near the entry to the site, with a day pass 7.3 am to 5.3 p.m. costing USD 10. Local guides are recommended and very affordable. For that, contact the hard-working local guide there, Sakong. The temples are spread out over a large area with the 3 major temple groups, located near the major road that passes through the site, and 2 smaller satellite zones to the northwest. A car, motorbike, scooter, or bicycle is suggested, as just walking around the main group is a 6-7 km trail. The roads connecting the temple groupings are quite good. Clean toilets are located near the main group, and while there are no shops, there are several locals who set up stalls with drinks and packaged snacks, local nuts, etc., near the entry and main parking area. The pagodas, Wat Mohar, Wat Che Sampov, and Wat Sambor are also worth a look. Wat Sambor features a beautiful traditional vihara and ornate sema stones beside its newer pagoda, and Wat Mohar houses several relics of an ancient Buddhist site. Ambor Prei Kuk, about 20 kilometers north of the provincial capital Kampong Thom, is the most ancient archaeological area of Southeast Asia that can be called a temple town. Definitely, it is the most important excavation from the pre-Angkorian Chenla period. The original power center of the Chenla era had been the Mekong Valley between Wat Phu in modern-day southern Laos and Stung Treng in northern Cambodia. Isanavarman I, who ruled in the first half of the 7th century, expanded his territory and shifted his capital further west, to the small Stung Sen River. The new capital got this king's Sanskrit name, Isanapura. By the way, in Khmer history, the capital's name usually was also applied to the kingdom, whereas Chenla or Zhenla is only a Chinese name for Cambodia. Chinese travelers and chroniclers also used it for the Angkor Empire, not for the pre-Angkorian period only. Sambor Prei Kuk was most probably not founded, but conquered by Isanavarman I. The north group of monuments, the largest in Sambor Prei Kuk, is of an earlier date than his reign, at least partly. However, Isanapura became a considerable city during Isanavarman's reign, surpassing all previous capitals of mainland Southeast Asia. Chinese chronicles claim it was inhabited by 20,000 families. In contrast to the Funan era, 1st to 6th century, the Chenla era 7th and 8th century left plenty of inscriptions, by far more than the early Angkorian period 9th century. Stone inscriptions were found in Sambor Prei Kuk and its vicinity, as well as in eastern and southern parts of the kingdom, particularly in the former Funan capital Angkor Bore, near Phnom Da. The inscriptions mention dates and the king's name, and even call him a god diva. Furthermore, Isanavarman is one of the important Cambodian kings who sent embassies to the Chinese emperor. Sambor Prei Kuk has 150 structures in an area covering 300 hectares. 47 of them were prasats of the 7th century. The temple buildings are divided into 3 larger and 1 smaller group, the latter called Z. N is the north group, C the central group, and S the south group. Though from very different periods, temple compounds and prasat buildings of all groups share characteristics in layout, size, and decoration, and some of these characteristics are not found in Angkorian temple towns. Remarkably, the rooms in Sambor Prei Kuk's sanctuaries are much larger than those in Angkor's prasats, and there are more monuments in the core areas of Sambor Prei Kuk's temple compounds than in those of Angkor. In Khmer architecture, octagonal temples are unique to Sambor Prei Kuk. A characteristic decorational element of Sambor Prei Kuk's monuments are so-called flying temples or flying palaces. Very detailed stone carvings depicting whole buildings at the outer walls of prasat towers. Sambor Prei Kuk's oldest structures, as already mentioned, belong to the north group. Its central tower, perhaps erected or renovated by Isanavarman I, is surrounded by 4 smaller towers in quincunx order. 2 splendid statues were found here. They are now in the National Museum in Phnom Penh, but copies can be seen in Sambor Prei Kuk. 2 structures of the north group located even further north, on the other side of today's access road and car park, are of special interest for tourists. Prasat Prei N18 and Prasat Luang Cham Bok N24 are completely covered with roots of strangler figs, making Sambor Prei Kuk a place deserving the title Jungle Temple. The South Group was the main sanctuary under King Isanavarman I. Inscriptions mention him as the founder. The complex was erected about 620 during the early years of his reign in Isanapura Sambor Prei Kuk. The outer walls of the central prasat carry tile reliefs depicting the flying palaces mentioned above, a kind of mythological airplanes of the gods. The lintel reliefs of this sanctuary are among the most celebrated in Khmer art. Their medallions are typical for the Sambor Prei Kuk style. The colonnettes show an unusual feature, namely friezes with stylized birds in pendant garlands. Lintels and colonnettes have traces of red paint. The interior walls were ornamented with thin pilasters. Smaller octagonal towers surround the central one. The ruin of the main Gopuram eastern gate of Isanavarman's South Group is completely conquered by a huge strangler fig. The central group C, slightly further west, is much younger. Most of it is from the Angkorian period. Its central Prasat tower is known as Lion Temple, since there are two impressive lion sculptures flanking the access stairway. The Khmer word for lion is Tao, so the Khmer name for the temple is Prasat Dao. Compared to Angkor's lion statues, they are of rather unusual design.